The book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 7. Rest in Yahweh and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospered in his way, because of the man who bringeth it wicked devices to pass. Okay, first and foremost, I'd like to give infinite honors and prayers to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rikah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akim that's pushing the truth and sincerity. Lord willing, this video be edifying first and foremost to the whole elect, then to those that cleave to the body. And I'm gonna get in a lesson today. Okay, as you can read, Shalaki. All right, on the end time headlines, it says a sinister in-car spy technology that can kill your engine will be mandatory next year under Biden policy, sparking major privacy fears. All right, which, you know, they've been taking privacy from you. Okay, signing all kind of spying bills. All right, ways to invade your privacy, because this man sits as the Most High. All right, he want to be as the Most High. He want to see everything, be everywhere. All right, you got different technologies. They're using it in China, and the Eagle Eye, and amongst other things. All right, it's just another way to strip you, all right, completely of your freedom or your liberty. Okay, and remember, this is the land of the liberty, right? You're supposed to have liberty, you're supposed to have privacy rights, and amongst other things. But I'm obviously, it must be a Biden policy. When he was in office, or one of those executive orders he signed, all right, to basically show that it'll be mandatory. Let me see if I can find that before I start reading. I should have probably, looked that up. But, let's see. The Biden policy. See if I can look it up real quick. All right. In-car spy tech. Let's see what it says here. If I can get some spy devices. All right. All right. Yeah, it says based on AI overview, based on legislation and initiatives from the Biden administration, new cars in the United States will be required to have advanced in-car. Well, it says it on there. I just pulled it up on here. It says it also in the article. All right, what's going to let you know what it is. All right, but when does it obviously take place? Okay, I'll read some of those bulletin points, but let me get into this. All right, it says, according to a report from the New York Post, new vehicles sold in the United States starting with 2027 models, which 2027 models typically comes out in August, mid-year of the previous year, right? So if you want a 2027 car, usually it comes in 6 months prior to the beginning of the first day of the calendar year in which the vehicle is made, right? So you'll make a 2027 car allegedly in 2026, or whenever the manufacturers bill it. All right, but it get introduced or given it to the people prior to 6 months before, anywhere between 6 to 4 or 5 months. I mean, I'm not perfect on that. You could probably look that up, but I know it is introduced to you before the coming year of the vehicle. All right. And it says, all right, it would include advanced driver monitoring technology that can detect signs of impairment and render the car inoperable through a so-called kill switch. All right. It says the rule embedded in the 2021 Infrastructure Act, here we go, passed under the Biden administration, aims to curb drunk driving, but has ignited fierce concerns over government overreach and personal privacy. You see? Because like that, then it's going to become basically mandatory monitoring, under Section 24220 of the 2021 Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act signed by President Biden. All new passenger vehicles must include technology that passively monitors drivers' impairment. Now, if it's just set up for impairment, then there's no need for it to be in all vehicles. All right. Right. All starting with the 2027 models. New. It's just saying new vehicles because you got some people that don't even intake alcohol. You know, they don't drive. All right. So this is another way of monitoring the people, man. You know, and we going into a surveillance state. So, you know, they're going to use, oh, well, we saving lives, right? We protecting other lives. You know, we keeping people from their own, you know, their own evil deeds, right? They're going to sell this thing through their devices. Okay. But that's part, when you go into their devices, all right, in that Psalms 37:7, it goes into, you know, their plans, all right, their schemes, right? Because remember, this man eyes, he want his eyes to be on every person, every minute. He don't want, you know, the goal is not to have privacy. All right. Is it one world surveillance, you know, of all the people, you know, being monitored. Your life is just totally uh just looked at, you know, every step, everything you say, do, think, breathe, everything. All right. This man want to micromanage it. All right. And he won't do it by way of a microchip. All right. A chip. Okay. To basically control your actions. He want to even do the BCI. All right. He want to put, you know, a brain chip implant, you know, to actually control your thoughts before you even think about it, man. You got movies like uh it's damn, it came out in 2000. All right, but it's playing in real time now. It was to step Salaki, I can't remember the movie name. All right, but it's playing out in real time. You know, they got certain programs set up to where, you know, they could catch a man before, you know, they commit the crime, all by way of this. But it's, you know, it just goes all into surveillance. All right. You know, furthermore, I won't dive too far off in it. All right. But I know it starts with an M. All right. I forget this movie. I always think about it. All right. But that's neither here nor there. All right. They don't come up. So lock it for that, man. My memory be shot sometimes. All right. But it says, you know, and they're going to detect signs of impairment and render the car inoperable through a so-called kill switch. Now, they finding other ways too, you know, through these e-cars, all right, through brakes and these newer vehicles to basically stop Jake from doing a lot of things, you know, working on it, you know, having the accessibility to the parts, you know, to do things, you know, to where they want to have the full control, you know, over any mechanical work or issues you have to do to it. All right. And that's why they making these cars so sensitive up, but really making them electric, you know. Me and the elder brother was talking about the brake system where you can't, you know, they got digital brakes on the newer cars now. You know, if you want work on your brakes or whatever, you gotta bypass this certain this certain package, technology package that they'll put in the truck, all right, to where you got to have a code from the dealership and amongst other things. And I'll play that, all right. But even though, you know, I've pointed out, started off to just, you know, basically show this in-car spy technology, you know, to manage you from, you know, as they say, being impaired, okay, you know, where they could take control over the vehicle, man. And all these cars going to end up being computers. All right, they're going to all up being electric cars because they're doing away with the older cars. All right, they're not, you can't find parts for it anymore. You know, the cars that have years, you know, a few years on them. All these newer models being made, man, it's, you know, it's been listen. The electric cars is being pushed, man. You know, because again, Esau could control the grid, to where they can totally control your car. You go in movies like Upgrade. All right, you know, these Teslas are being made, and amongst other things, all right, to actually show you that these cars are going to be controlled, total controlled, man. Okay? It's going to be in a digital system to where the people that actually, own the cars or whatnot, or the people that design the cars, they're gonna have full control over it. They're gonna tell it to drive, they're gonna tell it to start. All right, and amongst other things, where to move, the direction they're going. They'll deem it inoperable. They'll have kill switches. All right. And this is the age. We're moving into the age of technology, man. And we have moved into it. All right. It just have to be converted, all right, into everything. Okay. You got electric refrigerators, right? Refrigerators got Wi-Fi. You got electric stoves. Okay. Everything is electric now. If you get my drift. All right. So, should I play this video real quick? Yeah, I'll play it real quick before I finish reading this and come right back down. All right.
Ever had, the salvage yard. For decades, if you smashed the taillight on your truck, you drove down to the local junkyard, handed the guy $50, pulled a taillight off a wrecked truck, and plugged it into yours. You saved hundreds of dollars, and the truck looked good as new. Try that on a modern truck. If you back a 2026 Silverado or an F-150 into a pole and shatter the blind spot radar module tucked inside that taillight, you cannot just buy a used one from a junkyard. The plastic housing is fine, but that radar module is digitally handcuffed to the truck's main computer. If you plug a used radar module into your truck, the master computer interrogates it. It asks for the microchip's password. The module broadcasts the vehicle identification number of the wrecked truck it came from. Your truck's computer sees that the vehicle identification numbers do not match, and it immediately bricks the component. A warning light flashes on your dash, and your cross-traffic system is dead. The part is perfectly functional, but the automaker's software refuses to let you use it. To make that junkyard part work, you have to tow your truck to the dealership, pay a $200 diagnostic fee, and pay the service technician to connect his laptop to the corporate server and perform a software flash to rewrite the module. He is literally just typing in a password to give your truck permission to use a part you already bought with your own money. And in some cases, the manufacturers refuse to flash used parts at all, forcing you to buy a blank virgin microchip directly from the dealership parts counter at a 500% markup. They have monopolized the repair market by making used parts digitally radioactive. It does not stop at electronics. They are coming for your brakes. Changing brake pads is something fathers used to teach their sons on a Saturday afternoon. You take the wheel off, remove the caliper, and use a C-clamp and a block of wood to push the hydraulic piston back into the housing so the new, thicker pads will fit. Look at the rear wheels of a new truck today. The mechanical emergency brake cable is gone. It has been replaced by an electronic parking brake. There's a massive plastic electric motor bolted directly to the back of the brake caliper. To change your own rear brake pads today, you need to command the truck's computer to enter maintenance mode. Again, no button. Just another hidden sequence of pedals and switches to digitally wind those motors back. If you don't know the secret code, or if you accidentally use a C-clamp like your dad taught you, you will shatter the internal gears instantly. A $50 driveway brake job just became a $600 dealership nightmare. They will tell you this is all for your own good. They will say it is for safety or efficiency or security against theft. Do not believe them for a second. It is about ensuring that the dealership service bay is the only place your truck can ever go. The automakers realized that the real money is not in selling you.
Yeah, so they done monopolized, all right, the whole car, the car selling industry, man. And I will say this: these cars are not selling off the lots anymore because people are, drawn with debt. All right, and people just really can't afford it, you know. And these cars are getting extremely costly, man. You know, with that inflation, the tariffs. All right, not able to get parts for the cars. All right, and become, you know, it done become a serious issue. I believe it was the elder brother in either this Indiana. I knew that, you know, exactly where the brother at, but I think it's the elder brother, Damasha Pot. He had a car issue one time, and he did a video, and he couldn't really find a part, but through the, you know, through the spirit of the Lord, you know, it was he was able to get it. But it was a shortage on parts, and he said that he spoke to either one of the managers or something, you know, in the car dealership. He can only get it from there. You know, he was just telling them, you know, those used parts and different things of that nature. If I could remember, I remember it vaguely, you know, if brothers could correct me or not. But he was like, those used parts, you know, they're finding a way to do away with that, man, so they could what? Monopolize the new, you know, these new electric vehicles and these new microchip components and different bypasses with the dealership. All right. To where you just, you know, you got to go straight back to the entity like Tesla. All right. You know, everything that's done with Tesla, you got to kind of bring it back to the dealership, man. You know, and that way, you know, a main computer or whatever going to override everything. But, you know, this is the digital age we're entering into, and this is what you got to be aware of. All right. So let's jump into this. So like I've been long-winded, but, you know, long-winded to be edifying. It says, okay, the rule embedded in the 2021 Infrastructure Act passed under the Biden administration aims to curb drunk driving, but has ignited fierce concerns over government overreach and personal privacy. The systems rely primarily on infrared cameras and sensors rather than traditional breathalyzers. All right. And again, because of the surveillance state, the different you know, bills that them assigned, you know, for surveillance and spying, and, you know, you don't have privacy as of now. Your phones, right, the TVs, and just the different things of different nature, you know, surveils you all, you know, it puts surveillance on you all day, you know, and it was some specifically that says it's gonna start to, like, the TV. If you watch the TV, certain chips and things in the new you know, these new smart TVs and different things of that nature, it's gonna either judge your mode. You know, it's gonna be able to tell if you angry, you stressful, you're tired. You know, which, you know, a lot of these chips is these you know, these microchips that they're introducing and putting in this technology. You know, the vehicles and the different cars and TVs and different things we operate and use on a day-to-day basis. All right, they're set up to detect, you know, like it says, it was set up to detect, like, breathalyzers, you know, or whatever. But it's tracking your pupil. Well, it's gonna say it. The system relied primarily on infrared cameras and sensors rather than traditional breathalyzers. They continuously track pupil size, right? They scanning you, all right? You know, it won't get your digital footprints, right? Head and eye movements, facial expressions, and other behavior indicators to access whether a driver appears impaired. Now, you could be impaired from tiredness. You know, they gonna just shut your car off, deem it intolerable. What, you know, what if you know, you have to get home at that moment? It says automakers are already developing related technologies. Right? General Motors has patented a system analyzing a person's walk towards the vehicle. See? While Ford is exploring iris scanning, heart rate monitoring, and machine learning. All right? We done reached this industrial, and this what these AI data centers, you know, gonna be set up for. All right, to actually, you know, take in this information, right? You know, read it through the data centers and different, you know, so everything ties in, right? The Internet of Things, everything is interconnected. All right, well, where they can totally control you. That's what it's about. All right, we'll start controlling the items that they use every day around them until it basically get unto them. All right, so where we can what? Totally control them. All right, so they themselves become this same system, all right, that they're implementing in everything that's around us in our day-to-day lives. And they're getting people familiar with the process of being scanned and rate, censored every day and surveillance and different things of that nature. All right. It says, and these things is already happening in China, man. All right. They're just in a full surveillance state down there in China, man. And it's going to come over here. All right. Because you're going to be judged off, your big behavior, your social credit, your activities, the things, the way you cooperate, the things you don't do. All right. Because, again, you're going to be put in 15-minute cities, and then you're going to be judged off, whether you can travel outside, what you can do within, right? All these things are going to be set up off a behavioral system, man. All right. It says Toyota is testing sweat sensors and steering wheels for alcohol detection. It's not just about the alcohol. All right. That's just a way of being, all right, that's going to cut people killing other people out. But a lot of people die when people are sober. You just have accidents happen, man. Well, they really incidents. They're not accidents. All right. They were designed to happen. All right. But like someone say, well, I made a mistake. All right. But come on, you can't make no mistake with that. It says automotive expert Lauren Fix, founder of Car Coach Reports, warned of the technology's invasive nature and potential for error. This is invading every driver's privacy, taking information, because it's going to also be listening to your conversations, deciding if you're drunk without having all the evidence. So they basically planting guilt on you, and you may not be drunk, right? You can, certain toothpastes and different things you use may have a glimpse of alcohol in it or whatever. And what if they judge that, man, off your breath? It says then you get in a car and it can't start. See, she highlighted numerous false positive scenarios that could leave drivers stranded during genuine emergencies. There you go. If you get in a car, you stressed out, all right, you irate, and you gotta bring your daughter to the hospital. Some slip and fall happened, emergency, bust head, whatever, right? And you stressed out, your stress levels, the car gonna be inoperable, man, because it's gonna say you're impaired, all right. Though yet you're not drunk, you're not qualified to drive as of now, man. So they gonna dictate where you going, what you do, and your car is damn near second nature to Jake. That's Jake chariot, man. Jake need their chariot just to survive, man, in Babylon. To get from point A to point B, right? To get their food, the necessities of their everyday life. So, this devil know what to aim at. It says, she highlighted, okay, maybe your mother fell and she needs help you. Your house is on fire. Your wife is about to give birth and needs to be rushed to the hospital. Maybe you're just stressed and your car refuses to start. That's where the problem lies, Fix said. Privacy advocates expressed alarm over data collection and sharing. Harry Morgan, CEO of Privacy B, noted that recorded information is unlikely to remain confined to the vehicle. I bet you, I bet so. It is definitely not going to stay in the vehicle. It's tracking all kind of visual signals, right? And verbal signals. It's tracking all kind of visual signals, and they're usually sending them up to some kind of automotive cloud. He told the post. So who's in control of the cloud? Who's making a call, or whether this person is okay to drive, or we need to keep the car inoperable? What that's going on? Going in some type of database? What is going to AI headquarters? Like, what are we doing? Is artificial intelligence gonna make the decision? Which that needs human input. AI needs human input still. All right. Or it won't be able to, it's not deemed to make a human-like decision, man. It says the National Highway Traffic Safety Administrator has acknowledged that the technology is not yet fully ready, warning that even 99.9% of accuracy will provide millions of false positives annually, given the volume of daily U.S. car trips. And all they're going to do is use, they're going to use They're going to continue to use it and just fix the bugs or get the bugs out. Well, we have to keep going so we can perfect it. Now, when you use something of this nature, it have to be perfected before it comes out, man. And that's the thing about technology, man. These studies of machines and, you know, this different algorithms and different things of that nature is not godlike, all right? It's not impulsive. It don't, right? It go off of stats and numbers and feelings, all right? That's not, the Lord deals with the spirit, man, all right? And the spirit of a man is controlled through the Lord's will, all right? Of what happened, what don't. The same as the next second and minute and hour. Any determination of the future, that's controlled by Yahweh, man. Okay? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. I won't read too much more of it, but it says critics also fear the added cost, estimated at $100 to $500 per vehicle, will be passed on a consumer, potentially slowing new car sales, which that already done slowed down. All right, which that was the point. All right. So it says, and it can kill your car. All right. It says, but it's going to be mandatory. See? It's the implementation timeline. While the final regulations have faced delays, the mandate is set to apply to the new vehicle starting from 2027 model year, with automakers having until then to fully implement the technology. The technology used. The system will likely use infrared camera sensors, AI, to analyze eye movement, pupil size, head position, and other behaviors to determine if a driver is fit to operate the vehicle. The kill switch capability. The technology can make a vehicle inoperable if the system detects impairment. The data concerns. Privacy experts have expressed concern that behavior data could be sold by automakers to insurance companies, creating an automotive risk score. See? It's going to be, everything about to be determined by a score. All your actions, your feelings, everything. All right? Going to be determined on what you do. Total control. Okay? The primary stated goal of the legislation is to combat the nearly 13,000 annual fatalities caused by drunk driving, with estimates suggesting the technology could save thousands of lives annually. See? The national security risk. President Biden has expressed concerns that small cars described as smartphones on wheels could collect sensitive data on America or be remotely disabled by foreign adversities. Proposed bans. The White House has proposed rules aimed at banning Chinese-made cars or components, focusing on connected vehicles with internet, GPS, and camera technology that could transmit data back to China. But China sells the best cars over here. We're going to sell American cars? Remember, America is an import country. See? They got a video that discussed the security risks associated with smart cars. All right. But, that's kind of is what it is, man. But this devil, the Lord gonna let him, get a couple things off, but for the most part, this devil ain't gonna be able to do much, man. And we understand that. You're not gonna be able to see and listen in on everything that's going on. The Lord will let you set it up momentarily, because you is gonna, cause it to pass. But the Lord gonna, obviously he gonna disrupt your enterprise, man. All right. It says, Psalms 33:13. The Lord looketh for heaven, from heaven, he beholdeth all the sons of men. From the place of his habitation, he looketh upon all the habitations of the earth. Not from where, these data centers and they want to watch you and look up on you. All right. Now the Lord, look upon man for their actions and their deeds, the things that they're doing, the ways they're feeling, what's going on with them. It said the Lord looking from his habitation, man. Remember, this man said he going to sit in the congregation of the north. He going to sit in the midst of the people. All right. He going to sit on top of everybody, to watch everybody, man. And his goal is to make, one rule, one world order, man. to watch, to watch and observe everybody, man. But that's the job of the Lord, man. The eyes of the Lord is in every place, beholding the ways of man, which are the angels, man. Okay. The Lord looked into the ends of the earth and said unto the whole heaven. The Lord is omnipotent, omnipresent. All right. Amongst everything. Okay. Let me get that in Zechariah that I had mentioned. All right. In Zechariah 4:10, it says, "For who had despised the day of small things, for they shall rejoice and see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those 7. But these are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro through the whole earth," man. All right. So the angels is the ones that go to and fro through the whole earth, man. And this devil eyes, the Lord have let this devil wisdom increase. Okay, because it's of the Lord, to build this type of this technology. But ultimately, man, it's gonna be to his own demise, man. Because this devil ain't gonna be able to, control it. All right. AI already has a mind of his own, man. And who makes something that they can't control? But this the main point, Job 5:12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty. All right. So that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And their enterprise is what? One goal, one world order, one rule, one military, one everything. All right. And that everybody be, subject to it, subject to whatever this devil say. He won't look up on what everybody do. Okay. And it's just, it's just what it is, man. It's called something at damn China. I forget it. Kind of sky cam or something. Trying to have. Let me see. That pretty much was the point. I know it got long. Yeah, let me see this. Let me look this up real quick. Yeah. Okay, it's called, I want to know the name of it. Oh, it's a lucky. Y'all won't let me get it here. It's a sky. I hate the fact I forgot this, man. What the hell, man? Yeah, but it's a social China surveillance system, man. Damn, I can't see. Skynet, my bad. Salaki. Yeah, call like me, right? So this is really merging you and getting you ready for Skynet. All right, when you look that up, you pull it up real quick. They just trying to do it through the technology and the things we have, man. Mandatory, inescapable in your car. Let's see if we can get this real quick. See if we can pull this up real quick. Skynet. Okay, let's see it real quick. Traction. Yeah, what the hell? All right, let's just go. Yep. Skynet refers to distance real well AI power surveillance systems, right? Okay, as well as a logistics company rather than the fictional AI Terminator, right? But it's it's an AI power surveillance system. But that's the point. You can go look Skynet up. All right. Here it says it's a program of the U.S. national security that performs machine learning analysis on communication data to detect information about possible terror suspects, and amongst other things, right? You go read all that, it's a lot, right? But, this, again, this is, this is what's going to basically be governed by, these devils, man, to keep you, another way to entrap you, and furtherly put you inside this digital prison that they coming up with, man. But again, they gonna do it around all the things around. We already got smartphones, TVs, refrigerators, now small cars, electric, is everything gonna circle back to the grid, to where you're not gonna be able to work outside of it, man. All right, it's gonna be powered, all right, by these devils. Whatever you use, wherever you go, wherever you travel, all right, whenever you come outside, you're going to be under surveillance, which you are not. Flat cameras and amongst other things, man. So, this devil is digitally boxing you in, all right? And, just get ready. But we don't fret, for the devices that this devil have, because, we know the Lord going to deliver us, man. This devil ain't going to be able to perform his enterprise, man. He ain't going to be able to get it off, all right? It says, Job 5:12-13, he disappointed the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. And their opus magnum is their magnus opus. All right, is their what? The crowning achievement is what that sihel, that charagma. All right, charagma. All right, that's the final, that's the plateau. All right, of their enterprise, man. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. All right. So the Lord not gonna let this devil, fully submit his left hand, wisdom and knowledge, man. Well, his left hand energy, all right, that he, exude from the the spiritual demon Satan, this physical devil on earth, which is Esau Edom, that they get from the left hand side. They ain't gonna be able to get the success off, man, because the Lord gonna intervene, all right, and set up the true righteous spirit on the earth, all right. It won't be an undertaking of this, because the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, man, all right. It's a left-handed it's a left-handed wicked device, man. Okay, that the wicked have been given, on his side to, to rule and to attempt to conquer. But that pretty much is the point. So I don't want to write the Zada was out of fun. Till next time I say shalom.